Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest and most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, My Fiancée, a 31-year-old female, said her ex is the love of her life. And guys, this is a story by a relatively young guy, well, young to me because I'm 43 years old, who walks in on his fiancée having a conversation with someone, and she didn't know he was there, and he overheard the fact that the guy, her ex, was the love of her life, not him, even though he's all set to be married with her. And as you can imagine, that's pretty heartbreaking, and he's definitely in a situation right now. So you're going to see here what happens here, how he handles this, and where things progress from that point. And there's definitely some things I want to point out in this story here, but I'm going to do my best to not comment too much because I'm listening to you guys. You prefer I leave the lessons to the end, and I'll mention at the end about this particular subject about women and women settling for guys even though they're in love with some other dude. So, starts off, he says, so I'm in a bit of a daze right now, to be honest. My fiancée, a 31-year-old female, and I'm 33, got engaged in October last year and have been in a relationship for 5 years now. Everything has been great, and I can honestly say that I've never met anyone who comes close to her. She's been the love of my life for sure. I've known her most of my life. We grew up on the same street, just round the corner from each other. So the girl next door. Her mom and dad still stay in the same house, and I still stay in the same house I grew up in, which my mom left to me when she passed away in 2014. We still don't officially live together, but yet for all intents and purposes, she lives here. Her parents and her are really close though, and she still has a bedroom there, and will occasionally spend the night there, but she'll never, he wrote this badly, this guy's obviously overseas, she'll never go away from here. Whatever. Bear with me, guys. This guy's obviously, English is not his first language. Anyway, this morning, I decided to go take a walk down to the shops to buy some things, and as I was about halfway down the street, 15-minute walk, I realized I'd forgotten my face mask. He says masks are mandatory here in the shops since July 10th, so I had to walk back and get mine. When I walked in the door to grab my mask from the kitchen table, I heard her speaking to someone loudly on the phone in the living room, and she said, now listen to this, she says, yeah, but David will always be the love of my life. David is her ex-boyfriend. I don't know a great deal about him, but I know they were in a relationship for 2 years, and it ended a year before we started dating. He also dumped her. Ding, ding, ding. That's very important here, which I'll mention later. I just grabbed my mask and walked back out the door just as I got to the shops. I felt weird, and I had to sit down as my mind was going in 1,000 different directions. I eventually got back home, and I immediately told her I feel sick and sent her back round to her parents' house as I didn't want to be around her as I was ill. That is horrible. Imagine walking in, and this girl's the love of your life. You're going to be married. You think everything's great, and you hear her overhear a conversation saying that her ex-boyfriend, who dumped her, I might add, was the love of her life. I mean, seriously, you feel like you have your heart ripped out and stomped into a million pieces. Poor guy. I'm now lying in my bed wondering what to do, to be honest. I know she didn't do anything wrong, but it's not like she cheated on me or intentionally went out of her way to hurt me, but what's heard can't be unheard. Right, you can't let this go. You can't marry her with her saying the other dude was the love of her life. And pay attention to that whole, it's not like she cheated on me thing. She basically said that the person who she agreed to marry isn't a patch. She basically said the person who she agreed to marry isn't a patch on an ex she's not been with for 6 years. The fact she said he will always be the love of her life also means that it's a void game. Her heart actually has been taken, and there's nothing I could ever do to change that. Also, what would happen if he did come back into her life? You can't turn down love of your life when they come calling, and I'd be dumped quicker than yesterday's leftovers. He's right. It's a hard truth to come by, but he's right. So what do I do? Tell her I was eavesdropping on her and heard her say that shit? Just end the relationship for a completely vague reason like, oh no, it's not you, it's me? Swallow my pride and pretend I didn't hear it? Everything has been wonderful, but there's no way on this earth I want to be with someone a second choice. Especially when her ex is the one on her mind and that she's obviously would be with if she could. I'm thinking about just saying it's not working between us. She's now texting me about coming around tonight and mothering and spoiling me because I'm sick. F that. So it just started pouring raining, guys. So big surprise there. Everything's been great all morning, but now it's pouring raining. So I'm going to have to stop this, and I'm going to just do it. I'm going to move to a different location, and we start part 2. So bear with me here. Okay, part 2. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. This storm came out of nowhere. I moved to a better location. It's still raining a little bit, but I'm doing my best here. So just bear with me here. Of course, the second I get done the video, that's when it'll stop raining, but go figure. Anyhow, so yes, the guy finds this out about her saying these things, and now he's like, what the hell am I going to do? Because no self-respecting guy wants to be with a woman who says she's with him, and be with him even though that she's in love with her ex. Okay, it's not going to go very well for the marriage. Now, continuing on, he says here, I was going to update sooner, but I've been spent the last 3.5 days in a drunken stupor, so my apologies, but I'll warn you, this is not a good update. Well, actually, it is a good update. It's just not good, some of the things that transpires here. He says, right so after posting and receiving some advice on Reddit on Thursday, I was thinking of telling her to come back around on Thursday night so we could talk. But settled on Friday morning instead as I wanted to get my head into a clearer state. Translation, stop drinking so you can figure out what to do. She still thought I was ill, so I need a bit more time to think it through what I was going to say. So she comes around on Friday morning about 8 o'clock in the morning with rolls and tuna mayo crunch that her mom made for me, along with grapes, sweets, and juice and stuff. I think she could see right away that something was definitely wrong, as I must have looked stony-faced and as you could cut through the atmosphere with a knife. I like these little expressions overseas. Anyway, I said to her that I wasn't really sick and that yesterday, as I was going to the shops, I forgot my mask. I had to come back to retrieve it, and when I got back, I heard her talking in the other room about David. Her face went completely pale, and she started welling up, so I instinctively stopped talking and just stared at her. She then runs into the toilet, locks the door, and starts hysterically crying, and alarm bells are going off all over the place in my head. It is amazing to me how these women can turn on the waterworks like that. They learn as little girls, just boom, and immediately, they can do the most horrible shit, and they start crying and think that's going to make everything better, right? Her reaction made me think she didn't know what I heard, so she must have said some other shit about him as well. I chapped on the door and told her if she has any aspirations of saving this relationship, she better tell me everything right now. Good. Lay down the law. 30 minutes or so go by, and she finally comes out dabbing her face with tissues and tells me David got back in touch with her 4 or 5 months ago, and she's been sleeping with him once or twice a week since. Oh my God. This is the same guy who thought, well, okay, but at least they're not sleeping together. 4 to 5 months, she's engaged with this guy, and she's hooking up with her ex, the love of her life, twice a week. And notice this ex is obviously a bad boy type. He isn't getting back with her, so she can have her cake and eat it too. Settle for the nice guy, and still hook up with the love of her life. Real selfless, huh? I said in my previous post, she will occasionally go and stay with her parents. It's usually about once a week. Sometimes twice, sometimes none. The thing is, I've just popped around myself dozens of times over the years to speak to her mom or dad, watch TV or anything at all, really, without informing her, and she's always been there, so it's just become routine, and I've never thought about it anymore. So he just routinely goes to her house to see her parents and family because he's close to them. You think that's an ideal and good situation to be marrying into. This has obviously been the times that she's gone to meet with David. All I can think about is the snippet of conversation I heard her having with her friend or something helping her choose between David and I. When I heard this, I hit the roof. I threw her out and grabbed handfuls of her stuff, put it in bin bags, and threw it out the door into my front garden. She's still standing out there, by the way. Good. Throw her ass out. And threw away, I would have kept the food. Food will always make a man feel better. But anyway, he threw her out in the bags and all that stuff. Good for him. Now listen what he does next. I then grabbed my garden hose and drenched the shit out of the bags with it. I'm not proud of that. It was extremely petty, and in hindsight, I should never have done that. Dude, that's not that bad. It could have been way worse. I mean, there's some guys that would start throwing fists, if you get my point. He just got the garden hose out and hosed down the bags of food. It would have been funny if he hosed down her as well. She at this point had run around at her house, and about a minute later her dad comes rampaging around, screaming. Her dad and I ended up rolling around the ground in the front garden fighting. At about 9 in the morning, no less. Police vans and everything end up turning up, and half the street was out because of the Rammy. Fighting with the dad. Even though she's the one cheating on this guy once or twice a week for 4 to 5 months, in love with him, he just sprays the groceries down with a garden hose, and next thing dad and him are having a throwdown in the front yard. I mean, imagine that situation. Imagine people out there with their cell phones recording this. Afterwards, I blocked her and everything and went to my friend's house where 3 of us spent the weekend, Monday. They took off work and we were drinking. When I got back in the house this morning, I know she had been back in the house at some point, made the beds, done the washing, and ironed. I have no idea why she did this. She did this because she's trying to get back with you. That's why. And why the hell didn't you lock that? Well, she has a key to the house. Not good. This is this guy's house, by the way, thank God. And they're not, married or anything like that, because then she could have a piece of the property. As I'm writing this, she tried to get in again. I haven't been able to change the locks yet, so I'll put the door chains on the front and back door, and from upstairs, heard the door opening and the chains clanging as she tried to get in. There's also a note that she put through the door. I don't even want to read it right now. I'm too hurt, hungry, and hungover to even think about what she has to say. Well, she's probably begging you for your forgiveness. That's probably what she's doing, and that she really loves you, and she was stupid, and she was crazy, and she got nervous about the wedding. I guarantee you, that's what she was saying. That's what they all say. Meanwhile, she probably would have kept doing it if she didn't get caught. Next update. He says, sorry for the belated, but I'm in a bad way right now. I'm half drunk as I write this, so bear with me. I would stop the drinking before he does something really stupid. He says, since everything that has happened, things have taken a turn for the worse. As many of you mentioned I should do, I sent an email to her father explaining my side of the story and apologizing for taking things in public and embarrassing his daughter, but as I said previously, I acted instinctively. I didn't apologize for fighting him, and I was reacting to him coming at me. He basically told me to F off and accused me of biting his ear for some reason. So that's what's stuck in my teeth. I joke, of course, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. The dad attacked him. It's not like he was physically attacking his daughter, but at the end of the day, a father is going to protect his daughter no matter what and ask questions later. I'd like to know if the father knows what was really going on. About a week ago, I went outside to find my car keyed right down from the passenger side wing mirror round to the boot. Not cool. Last Sunday, I was walking down the road to meet a friend at the Arches, a place where we occasionally hang out and walk from an arch bridge. And as I was turning the corner, the local mouth, the gossip, called me a disgrace. I said, how am I a disgrace? And she told me that I'm a disgrace for attacking my ex-fiancé. Let's just be clear here, I never laid a finger on her in my life. Either her or her father or someone else is perpetuating this lie, and me throwing her shit out and hosting it, obviously giving this the authenticity. What a load of crap. Now he's being made to be the bad guy here. How about let the biggest mouth in town, the big gossip, know what she was really doing? I haven't spoken to my ex, and she hasn't tried to contact me anymore. I think they're all on the same page now, that I'm the bad guy. I got the ball rolling. I'm putting my house up for sale. I can't live here anymore. I wish I still had my mom to lean on. She would make things better. Sorry for the shitty update. So guys, that's it for his story here, the original story and a couple updates here. But now, I've been dying to say this all along. People may say, why is she marrying this guy when she's still in love with her ex? Well, I'll tell you. Because, guys, by and large, most women settle. They settle for the nice guy, the guy that's marriage material, but they play around with the bad boy. Because they know the bad boy's never going to settle. They don't know that early on, but they eventually learn this through life experience, so they pick the nice guy that's a sure thing. And that type of guy will never give them the thrill that their bad boy exes or bad boy crushes will do. So they settle for them. This guy, thank the Lord, heard this conversation so he can get out. But no guy wants to be second best. No guy wants to marry her knowing that he's the one she settled for. That sucks. Hell no. But there are a lot of guys that do marry a woman and they think their whole lives they don't have a whole lot of women paying attention to them. But then they get to their 30s, and 30 is the big number where a lot of women get scared because they want to settle down. And if they're not on their way to the altar, they freak out, so they'll pick a guy that's marriage material. And women can pick a guy who's a nice guy, a marriage material type of guy, a mile away. Just like that. Just the way they can pick out a bad boy. And they go for that guy, and that guy thinks, yes, I finally got the girl. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. because I guarantee you she's never going to look at you the same as the guys that she really wants. She's never going to treat you the same, and she most certainly is never going to F you the same as the guys that she really wants. But she wants to settle, wants to have a family, the biological clock's going off, and there you go. So this guy, thank the Lord he heard this, and even though he was terribly hurt, got out. But this is a situation, she'd be a horrible wife, because obviously she doesn't want him, and also, she was willing to cheat on him. And the only reason she was so sorry and all that, now I got thunder coming in here. Gotta wrap this up. The only reason she did that is because she wanted to settle, end of story, because obviously she was getting older. Done. End of story. And she probably would have kept hooking up with that dude for Lord knows how long. So this is good it ended this way. But anyhow, guys, that was a good story to cover. I think it was pretty funny that he was hosing her down and hosing the bags down with the garden hose. It could have been way worse. She got up easy. But anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.